shouldn't see it. So
I think red side will be huge in this series. Devils 1 obviously starting on that red side. We've seen a lot of the ability to get those 2 power picks in the first rotation and then also save the last pick for a counter pick in the solo lane. Start off with that Jace ban. Don't want to play up against a blind first pick Jace.
Sure, and I think
see that a lot though.
That is something that Yopper can definitely do. The Akali ban comes through, expecting the Zoe ban for sure. If there was a weak point of the Mad Lions roster, it has seemingly been pretty Gree. Throughout the games that we've seen, he has been maybe the sort of the weaker lane, I guess, of the 3 of them. I think Samex is a great AD carry, and I think Yopper speaks for himself. And I think Mataflora has been a standout player for Devils 1. So that is, for me, you get rid of the Zoe. You don't want to give Mataflora a comfort pick into a lane which could be easily exploitable.
Every ban here has been a solo lane ban so far, outside of the Taric, which is to stop the Taric Sona strategy, which is pretty standard there. So we are seeing a lot. Already we're going to see what direction this series is going in. The battle of the solo laners here. Yopper, Aggressivo, Mataflora, pretty as well. All of these guys vying for these comfort picks here. That is going to be 5 solo lane bans in this first rotation here.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Rise is, I mean, okay, this is an interesting pick, and I'm sure you guys can touch on it. Rise banned, I guess, because Yopper and Pretty Gree can play him, so it's a very flexible, powerful pick. Skarner, prioritized over any other jungler. Is this a blue resource specific prioritization, it feels, to me anyway?
We've seen it a couple of times on him, but
I'm pretty sure he's played it the last, like, 3 games.
He's played it a fair amount recently, and he's been looking very, very good on it. But I do want to quickly just step away from that, because that's most likely Aggressivo on Aurelia.
Sure.
I remember this from the last EU Masters. He's bloody good at this pick.
He absolutely is. The fact is that I think Blue Resort has not looked good on anything other than Skarner, and that's why I'm kind of looking at him on the Skarner thing. Okay, they've prioritized it to make Blue Resort feel really comfortable here.
Well, the thing with Skarner is it's good into Jarvan and into Rek'Sai, which are the 2 other popular junglers, and Synchro loves it, so it's a bit of a denial, but that is a Zillion, by the way.
Typically has a good matchup into the Braum. He puts the Unbreakable up, the bombs just kind of stick onto you.
And it is technically a flex pick. You can put this in that mid lane as a solo laner as well, and we'll see whether, you know, because with this Aurelia, you have mentioned that Aggressivo plays it, he's good at it, so it could be an Aurelia top lane, but it could also be Mataflora's Aurelia. Let's not forget that it can go into both of those solo lanes, so it's not often that you see a pick that's being flexed in support and in mid, but Zillion's going to be doing just that. Running off with a Zac in this game.
Okay, so we're looking at a Mad Lions composition where it looks like it's Hecarim top, Skarner jungle. Those 2 we can be fairly certain of.
Yep.
And then you've got a flexible Zillion here that could be going mid or bot. And then you've got Syncroft playing his Zac, which he looked fantastic on. It gave them pretty much the win condition versus that Taric Sona competition. You've got someone playing the Irelia, and then we've got the Braum already coming through. They're going to see some bans coming through further here. We are getting mid lane bans, so that may suggest that Devils 1 are confident that this will be Falco playing Zillion support.
Which does make a lot of sense, as you're saying as well. It's good into Braum. It is technically a flex, but at the same time, you know, for me, Pretty has been a bit of a weak spot for Mad Lions. Zillion is a great pick onto a player that is underperforming. You kind of just like, there are very low expectations of what a Zillion mid can do, right? So you don't have to worry too much about that. But still, pinching away this this mid lane champion pool here as well with that Kassadin really does go to show, like, that's now 6 solo lane bans, plus the Aurelia being picked. How deep is Pretty's champion pool here?
Actually,
they do ban the Rakan away.
They've split their bans.
Yeah, outside of, but it's still with the bans before and then the Kassadin as well. It's all 7 total solo lane bans, mid lane bans. Sorry. I mean, I'm chatting. You know what I mean.
It looks like they banned Nah, so they think that maybe this could go mid, and I guess you don't take a Zillion into an Aurelia mid. That would be a rough matchup because you can dive away from the bombs. You can get onto the Zillion pretty quickly in the early game.
But you just stick the bombs on yourself.
True, you can just stick your bombs on yourself. That's fairly.
And then you can just speed away. Like, it's one of those. It kind of nullifies melee lanes because it is actually a lot harder than you would think to kill a Zillion in the 1v1. With jungle attention, it's a lot easier, but in the pure 1v1, it's not a bad pick to kind of keep that champion at bay. And the Kai'Sa locks in here as well, gets the first priority on that AD carry. Mad Lions now are going to have to dig deep, see what Samex plays. He's played a lot of different stuff, and when we saw him in the EU LCS in 2018, his champion pool was relatively wide. We'll see whether he opts for something like the Tristana or whether they do lock in the Sivir.
I've been singing Samix's praise for the last few days as well. Like, he's really impressed me. He's really stepped up for this team. So, gonna lock in the Sivir. That is a go comp if ever I've seen one. Hecarim,
It's very good with Hecarim.
Sivir,
Yes.
Skarner. You get the Predator. You press E on Hecarim. Sivir just speeds the whole team up, and you just run in. So that is a go team here. They're also looking for their support most likely, but actually, yeah, okay, no, it's mid lane Morgana, support Zilean is what I'm assuming.
I mean, you could do either, right? You still have that ability to be flexible depending on what you see picked, but you'd imagine that Morgana's more broken in the mid lane right now, so...
Yeah, I wonder what Devils 1 are going to assume is the mid laner here, whether they assume that it's Morgana mid or whether they think it could be Zilean, because, again, I would say that this Aurelia is probably going into the top lane, as you mentioned with Aggressivo. So you just pick something safe. And this is what Corki is really good at doing. You just stick him in that mid lane, you farm up until you get your Triforce, you get crazy burst damage with that poke of the rapid fire cannon as well when that starts coming through. So this is a really interesting pick to round these comps off. I like the draft so far. We were talking about 4D chess. I think this is an interesting one.
Yeah, so we've got a pretty... I mean, I'm not really sure we've seen all of the swaps yet, because Yopper's still got the Skarner on the top side of the map, and Blue Resort has got the Hecarim in the jungle. I think we're just waiting. I'm not gonna mention anything until it happens at 20 seconds. But yes, there was an issue there, so we're gonna have to go through again. I was a little bit concerned that we had a Skarner top from Yopper, and I was thinking, is it going to work, guys? I'm going to throw this one over to you. Looks like I think we stick with the same draft, by the way. If there's an issue, we stick with that same draft. We just get the swaps in the right location. I think they bailed out at 20 seconds because there was an issue with the swapping there. But let's assume that it is Hecarim top, and we'll talk a little bit about what you feel these compositions do. So, Jake, you kind of mentioned it front to, like, sort of go, front to back with the Sivir Hecarim composition. How do you think it works? Is it pretty much exactly that?
I like the pick potential whenever you have a Skarner. And when you have Hecarim as well there, like the TP flanks coming from Hecarim with home guards later on, or just doesn't even need home guards because it speeds in anyway. Like the flanks that you get, if you can, there's like different speed ups in all of them. There's Sivir ulti, there's Zilean E, there's Skarner Predator,
Sivir ulti, Zilean E,
Brightest
Hecarim.
Glories, like it's ridiculous. I really just want to see these guys just zoom into the enemy team, catch them, and then make picks. By making those picks, you can then turn objectives and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the Speed Racer comp mainly is built around... it's like a displacement fight as well. You know, Skarner can pull people out and they can kind of go for that, or the Hecarim ult can just separate everyone with the fear. You basically just run at them, make them just kind of scatter to the wind, and then pick them off like that. So I'd say it's less front to back in my head. It'd be more just kind of... Front. Just go. It's more like you kind of... You know, throw a stick of dynamite in and just watch everything fly out in different directions.
I have just been told someone's PC crashed, which is why we had an issue in that draft phase, which means they'll do the draft again off screen, can confirm it is exactly the same, and we'll jump into game as soon as we have that completed.
Do we have confirmation of if it was Hecarim top?
I will double check in a second.
Right.
We do not know. I'm being told that we don't know, but I think we can assume.
I would hope so.
Given that this is a very important series, I mean, Skarner top maybe can work, but yeah.
It's just because you see Aurelia, maybe I'm thinking too much into the 4D chess here, but straight up into melee champions. Back in the day, I remember playing versus a Skarner one trick who just went top lane and built armor with Frozen Fist and ran into these melee top laners and just crushed them. I don't think that's going to happen. But
I wouldn't actually put it outside of Yopper's realm of possibilities,
this
right?
is the Z top player, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's probably not actually going to happen at all. But still, it's fun to think about.
All right, let's take a little look at Devils 1 then. So you've got Irelia, Zac, Corki, Kai'Sa, and Braum, I believe is the full composition, if I can remember off the top of my head.
Something like that.
Yep.
Boxy, what does this do? What are the win costs?
What does this do? Well, whenever you pick Braum, you have potential there to make things happen, which is why I think it was pretty smart by Mad Lions to respond with the Sivir especially, because you have the shield to block Braum's fights, like the engages there. And I think with Zac as well, Zac wants to jump in, he wants to kidnap someone and jump back out and just like pressure these lanes. It's hard to do that against Sivir Zilean unless you really catch him out of position. So I don't really expect too much to happen in the lane phase this game, and I don't think the Mad Lions want too much to happen. Because I think they're totally fine with just reaching like level 6 and stuff like that, and then even if you get out of the lane phase, if you can move as a unit and like deny vision and put some deep vision down in the enemy jungle, if you can get like a hold on the map, and then use that to run into the map, grab someone with Skarner, pop several or whatever, you're catching Devil's One face, you can use stuff like that. That's why I'm thinking the Mad Lions are looking to get their advantage in this game.
Okay, so if we look at this in terms of at what point in the games these compositions are going to win, do you think if we went, let's hypothetically say we went 30-35 minutes, who would you favour in a straight up game there, going that far in? Who would you be putting your money on?
Well, when you have Corki and Relia, like 2 Triforce champions, I do love seeing those Triforce power spikes, because games go from like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Like legitimately when you have these Triforce champs. So, like to me, if they don't come out of lane phase behind, I like Mad Lions' chances. But at the same time, if any of those Triforce champions gets rolling, especially that Relia, it can be pretty scary when you start playing around.
I just can't ignore a Sivir comp. Like, if you get late and Sivir just gets that 6-item power spike,
the 400 CS win condition.
I mean, when you've got a team that is just designed to run as fast as possible, I mean, that's just explosive and exciting. So I can't not kind of get behind that in my head as the game does move later. But you're right. There's a Corki. Corki is kind of a pain in the bum right now. I
think there's a lot of balancing between these two teams. I think they've both got good scaling. Kai'Sa, Corki, Sivir, even Morgana, it scales okay, you know, in terms of the power. So here we go. The drafts have been locked in. Confirmed that it is indeed Hecarim top. And yeah, disappointing. Not going to be quite as Hercules disappointing as I went for the Diabolus series.
Not as disappointing there. But you have a lot of kind of 2-iron power spikes really on Devil's One side. Even with Kai'Sa, if you go the Storm Rager Ginzu's build, that again pops off at 2 items. You get that double passive or whatever the upgrades unlocked there. You got Corki, you got Irelia, and you just have the kind of frontline engaged to back that up. Devil's One have a very scary team comp in that situation there. I'm actually going to be looking towards the Hecarim and Irelia top lane matchup. We haven't seen it so far in the EU Masters. And we'll see whether this is another time where the junglers come in and ruin one of them's day, and then that gives them the advantage, or just how these guys butt heads. And because both Yoppa and Aggressivo, not just the champions but the players, are really exciting to watch.
Yeah, and I think Blue Resort needs to keep up his. I think he's been really good at tracking enemy junglers and predicting where they're going to be and counter ganking over the last 3 games, where he wasn't so good at that in their first 3 losses. In fact, was a big part of why we said Mad Lions were struggling. He needs to keep that up on a comfort champion like Skarner into someone like Syncroft, who's been incredibly impressive as a jungler throughout the course of these play-in stages. Now, we are confirmed going into game pretty soon, so that means it's time to ask predictions.
Oh man. I mean, yesterday I said Mad Lions would win, so...
Based off yesterday, we're going to continue.
Mad Lions.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Devils One, so I was going to go really controversial. But yeah, I'm going for Mad Lions. I think they've been on the up and up.
I don't even think it's that controversial. I'm also going to say Mad Lions. I think they have found their groove, and I genuinely think this is going to be a close series, though. It's like 51-49, you know, in terms of my predictions.
It's a thin line. It's a very thin line.
Yeah, and I think both of these teams are incredible, so this is going to be a great one. We have got a new set of casters for you, however. It is the Irish duo. No UK team to cast. I'm sure they're incredibly happy. It's going to be BP and Celtic Tiger.
Thank you very much, Excalibur. And I just want to say, everyone's jumping on my hype train. I was so hyped on the Mad Lions hype train, and everyone's just been like, oh, it's not even that controversial anymore, whatever. Damn it, I was on that train first. I'm first class.
I mean, look, they've beaten Devils 1 in the best of 1 beforehand, but a lot of both sides getting a lot of comfort. I'm really interested to see how this plays out, because once you lose on your comfort picks in game 1 of a series, it can really mess you up later on.
And we talked about it as well when the pick bans were coming in. Madislaw had Zoe open, did not pick the Zoe, went for the Corki instead. So definitely something he's not feeling amazingly comfortable coming into this matchup.
I think the big thing is that you lock the Corki because you see the Morgana and you go, look, I don't want to spend my whole laning phase pushed in.
We'll have to wait and see. It is game 1 of the EU Masters 2019 play-ins playoffs between the Superliga's Spanish Mad Lions and the Ultraliga's Poland's Devils 1.
I do like that, though. You just have the Superliga come in and then Poland's rebranding. It's like, well, we want to be better than Spain, so we're not the Superliga, we're the Ultraliga.
Yeah, next season we're going to have the UK scene turn into the Gigaliga.
I thought we were going by Pokeball status, so Master Liga.
Oh, the Master Liga, that would be so good.
Or EU Masters, as one may know.
That is the Master Liga.
Yeah.
The ultimate that
We're already in the Master Liga, guys.
We've come full circle. But coming into this mid game, it is the Zilean, the bot side, Morgana in the mid. We've talked about Morgana previously on broadcast, how it's so strong. You do take that glacial augment, so you just become really, really potent in team fights. But mid game, early to mid game, not as super useful.
I'd also like to see Blue Resort being very active in the enemy jungle. One of the things we talk about a lot from Zach is that, look, he's very poor free 6 and very prone to losing those 1v1s. On top of the fact you have pushing top lane, pushing mid lane, top lane, who should also have that comfort up against the likes of Aurelia, although it is Aggressivo's Aurelia, so it will probably look a lot more even potentially. We shall see how that plays out, but either way, a lot of pushing lanes, a lot of ability for Blue Resort to already win that 1v1, and now with the lanes under pressure, should be more free to do so.
Now, we've only seen one Aurelia in the play-in so far, has a 100% win rate off that, has seen a lot of bans thrown against her, so
I think there was like 17 or so bans,
something like
that. Ignoring the
yeah,
previous series.
Ignoring the previous series, it was like 17 bans, you know, if not a little higher. It was pretty crazy. We haven't got the exact stat right in front of us.
A lot of those bans being against the likes of Aggressivo, someone who's specifically known from the Aurelia from the previous EU Masters and just from the Ultraliga in general.
We see Blue Resort. He's going to take the very obvious route, and this is what we see a lot of junglers do as well, because it just means you are securing that second scuttle, you get the 2 scuttle start, and you get ahead.
But it's the thing, like, Zach can't fight him. Yeah, Zach's not going to do anything. He can just walk through mid lane and go, look, I'm going to this scuttle. What are you going to do about it?
Exactly, and I actually think, you know, I'm kind of putting a magnifying glass onto Syncroft, and this particular matchup, he definitely did not look comfortable going up against Blue Resort.
But to note, the Zach was consistently banned against Syncroft from that one game where they did actually get really good consistent engages coming out there. So I want to see if Syncroft has a similar performance, because right now, obviously we talked about those lanes pushing in, you're seeing them start to struggle from that.
Talked about that as well, but I also want to talk about, like, how does Syncroft influence these days, because when we get into those team fight, you know, kind of situations, Sivir has her own spell shield, you have the black shield from the Morgana in the mid lane, you also have a straight up resurrection from Falco Zilean. Like, there's so many things that can just kind of nullify what he wants to do here. Funnily
enough, the Zilean Resurrect doesn't really stop Zach from doing what he wants to do. He drags them back in. If you want to resurrect at the center of my team, go ahead.
It's like the sad thing when you have a GA, you're like, yeah, and then you're like, you die solo, you're like, ah.
Yeah, the one thing that makes Aatrox revive so much better, you get to move around a little bit.
Must scuttle away.
But certainly that can be a big issue. So if Syncroft can find those engages, will still be a massive tool for them. The big issue is that you have to get to the point where Zach is useful. You have to get these lanes into relatively even spots, even though they do seem to be struggling right now, because as we've noted, I think this will be about the 3rd time I've said it, but still absolutely holds up. They're all being pushed in.
Yeah, know it's going to happen. They know it's going to happen. They haven't really got the strength as of yet, but Syncroft has been spotted. Bomb planted on top of him.
Don't steal the ground from him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he knew what he was doing there. I was like, please don't auto-attack him. Please don't do it. That's a tilt right there, but it means they know where he is. They're tracking him. They have an idea what's going on, and that's information given over to Blue Resort.
Yeah, it's handy as well. Of course, you want to avoid some of those Zach ganks. Even early on, not the best in terms of positioning. Of course, that E range being rather low at this stage of the game, but does mean that you have the ability to avoid the lower range engage. Still actually going to go for it towards this bot lane, though. Has got a good flank.
Has got a very good flank. No vision on whatsoever. We're going to see Falco flashing away. There's the spell shield. They're not able to get anything else there. Good double bomb, but they still blow the flash off of the Zilean.
Yeah, it's smart as well. You go for the AoE there and try to queue onto Samux, but Samux just spell shields it up. Has a nice easy time doing so. Good pressure from Syncroft.
Yeah, very good. And the fact that he was spotted, he knew he was spotted as well. The fact that they still get that off is pretty good. But like we said, Blue Resort knowing that information now pushes into that topside jungle.
And one of the great changes to Skarner, one of those kind of QOL buffs, is that the Spires are not shown on the map, so he can run in and invade here, and they're not actually immediately aware just because you see the Spire swap.
They're going to be pretty obvious towards it now, as the Corki does Warden realize that Pretty all of a sudden has a little extra CS, shouldn't be able to take the Raptors that quickly. And it's all pretty smooth. It is still dead even, obviously still very early, 5.5 minutes into the game, but very interesting to see how tentative both these sides are. Not as explosive as we've seen previous games.
Well, that's the thing. It's, you know, Devils 1 don't really have the opportunities to do so, and Mad Lions are just consistently pushing in. Mad Lions see the opportunity here, though, with Aggressivo. Push the wave that little bit forward. Here we go.
Now we are going to see Blue Resort pop that Predator. They get the slowdown, they get the knockback. They'll not be able to get the stun just yet. Third aggro was picked up by Yappa. They're not really willing to go for that one, and they do force him back.
Actually keeps it relatively even because they went under tower there. was trying to get around the Aurelia and maybe force that, but as you noted, it was not able to do so. The Agressivo even holds on to the flash. Nicely played from them.
And now we might actually see, it's actually the Syncroft coming in onto the top side. You can see him on your minimap, but while I said that, flash burn there, trying to jump on the Falco. Heal has to be burnt out by Samus. He has no flash. Ignite is ticking. Looker does get a nice little stun there onto Samus with the concussive blows, but they're able to do it. Oh, I was just going to say Syncroft. He was in such a good position, but then I was like, it's already warded. They know exactly what's going on, but here we go. They're going to go in with the ultimates, try and get in it. There's the onslaught of shadows off the backside of this. They're just trying to keep everyone safe. This Aurelia is so good when she gets the Conqueror stacks stacked up and going. Flash burn by Blue Razor. And they back away, no one really dying, but another summoner burned on the side of the Mad Lions.
I will say, a bit of a dodgy play by Mad Lions. You knew you didn't have that level 6 on the Blue Resort to really turn that play in the 2v2, but did need to stay there, but at the same time, probably should have just backed off.
Yeah, probably should have, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. As we are seeing the Blue Wolf being transferred over now to Pretty. And we've had a couple of criticisms of Pretty, especially day one, when he gave Gangplank twice and lost twice, sadly. You know, he has looked a little bit better, but again, he's on these more passive champions that look towards the team fights rather than these things that kind of have to carry.
Yeah, but also, I mean, yeah, your Glacial Augment Morgana. You could throw in a bot and still do decently in this game, to be honest. You do just push the wave very heavily. You use your item actives. You're going to be useful.
For the Irish people to get a good look in here, I feel like I have to counteract the sassiness that you're bringing here. Because people are like, oh God, the Irish aren't as friendly as I thought they were.
First of all, I am wonderfully friendly, thank you. But I will note, yeah, no, Morgana is just rather simplified, simplistic champion. It hasn't as easy time pushing in. Has lost a little bit of CS from that, but is not majorly concerned, as we said, is mostly utility focused, but still a decent amount of damage, and that part of the reason that you have seen so many bans kind of thrown towards the Morgana over the course of the play-ins.
Yeah, Morgana, as you said, very good into those team fights. You have so much utility, just being able to be a nuisance, slows, black shields, stuns, and it's just become something that you don't really want to deal with.
One of the big things as well is you're talking about a team that wants to consistently go forward. You have someone with Glacial Augment that just sends the ghosts after them, slow them down, speed yourselves up. You can force those engages so easily later on for Mad Lions. You just want to be in a position where your team fight's good enough to do so.
I have to weigh in. It's about nearly 10 minutes into this game. It is an Infernal Drake, so actually pretty good priority if you can get that one early, but nothing else has really happened. We are still dead even in gold. It's very difficult to see what's going on there.
That Kais is building Blade of the Ruined King. That is...
You are absolutely...
That is 100% insane.
I don't know what to say. Do you have anything that can justify this?
You're not even playing into that many tanks, so no. I get the sustain's kind of nice, but... I mean, I guess the idea is you're eating a lot of poke, so maybe that's the sustain, but that is unusual. I'm gonna just throw some questions on that one. I guess we'll see when these fights kick off, if it does pay off. Going for maybe a Vayne style build, I think, is the idea here with the press the attack. So kind of forgot they're playing Kai'Sa and not Vayne.
Yeah, well, we actually do see the Dragon going down. Mad Lions picking up a nice early Infernal. That should help their comp out very, very nicely. But really good respect here from Yoppa. Syncroft gives up the ghost a little bit as he's revealing himself in that Tribos. But
Flubber preview.
Flubber preview. Flubber 3. As he goes in on top of this, does get the knock up, trying to get the ultimate to bring him back. Doesn't get it, but does burn the onslaught of shadows. Yoppa's still able to keep himself relatively safe. Soaks up the wave. And now we're starting to see the Aurelia with that 20 CS lead start to put pressure.
Yeah, and this is Agressivo's Aurelia. We talked about this, something that has been consistently banned away from Agressivo because he is just such a well-known performer on it. And now is seeing some of Syncroft's kind of attention being thrown up there. And I think correctly so as well. You often see Hecarim the recipient of a lot of ganks because the fact is you don't take that flash, you are under quite a bit of pressure.
Yeah, you want to go for the ignite, you want to be able to kind of jump, like you said, into team fight, onto the back line, be able to blow someone up, make sure they are dead, because that's what your ult is pretty much for. And with the amount of speed, I actually quite like with the amount of speed you can get.
The Zilean Sivir is going to be great.
It is going to be really good, because he's going to hit, if he gets to a max speed on his Q with Zilean and Sivir, he does a lot of burst damage.
My issue is it's all about getting there, right? It's about getting there in a reasonable spot as well. Right now, teams are dead even, though, so... This is fine. It's just that, as you said, slight CS discrepancy. It's the same in the jungle, but Zac doesn't need as much gold as the Skarner. Not the Skarner needs that much gold either now. But obviously is to be expected for Zach to have a worst early game, but this would be a good way to swing the gold. If they can get an early Rift Herald here, drop down that free 14-minute Herald, Bluerzor should be able to spot this out before it goes down.
Yeah, Bluerzor is around. This bot side Looker has to be so careful. Gets hit by the boomerang blade. Flash on, maybe. Not quite going to go for it. Knows a flash and heal are available for Looker. Doesn't want to run his own one.
The heal is.
The heal is, but we are going to see now as we go into this one, the Rift Herald being taken very, very low. This will be a 3v3. Vanguard's edge has been used. Zach trying to jump back in on top of this. They do get the knockback, but there's First Blood onto the Aurelia, and the Soul Shackles locks down Matt is Law. They get the Rift Herald on the side of Devils 1. Poland won't be feeling too bad about that one.
Yeah, the First Blood onto the Morgana as well. We'll get her quicker towards that Hextech GLP to start, and then onto Twin Shadows. Not the worst person to have to give it over to as Devils 1. You do get away with the Herald, but fight they didn't really want to have to take. We talked about that when we saw Bluerzor just in the area. It was going to be a contested Herald. Still managed to get it.
Yeah, still managed to get it, so good for him. But that does mean a lot of pressure in both bot and top. They're getting plates, they're getting some gold onto themselves now. Zach gonna jump in here. Zincroft trying to go for it. Just a little bit too late there on the Q. Does end up hitting a minion, and they back away on the side of Mad Lions.
Yeah, that would have been a nice one to get, because you could have dragged them back under the tower, you could have put down a bit more pressure, and you also have the Herald there to turn around very quickly in terms of the push, knowing that you're forcing them back.
It's the Dark Binding there, pretty feeling comfortable now on this one. And the gold has now started to shift a little bit. Mad Lions able to pick up a lot of, the First Blood, also a lot of tower plates as well. We might see that gold equalize very, very quickly though, as Rift Herald for the plate gank into the top side.
This could be first tower as well. You can see Hecarim and Skarner are on the way, but it's pretty close to going down. You know that last plate is the hardest though, so they have a bit of time to get in here.
They have a little bit of time, but a lot of damage goes on to Ekrasivo at the start. First tower does fall, but now here comes Pretty on the backside. TP going to be used by the Corki on into this as well. They have the Black Shield as well. They're going to try to use the Zach, but he's taking so much damage. There's the Onslaught of Shadows with 3 Fears. They get the Cell Division down, and they're going to be able to burn down the rest of the Devils. Mad Lions are roaring into this early game. Perfect start for them.
Really underestimation of the amount of damage Hecarim gets once that Conqueror is procced. You follow with the Onslaught of Shadows, huge amount of damage just goes through the Zac and the Aurelia immediately. Well played by Mad Lions to turn around a play that looked good for Devils. They still get first tower, but you can see the gold has swung heavily in Mad Lions' favor.
We are now looking at a 1,500 gold lead for Mad Lions, and with all that pressure being put top, you invested in TP from Mada's Law. You've invested so much time and effort. Yes, you got the turret. Yes, you have a decent goal lead for your Aurelia, but that bot line has just been bleeding now at this moment in time. And Sivir, when she gets ahead, it's very difficult to deal with that amount of weight clear.
We'll see now, especially if you're going Blade of the Rune King build, you will be a little bit delayed as Looker from any of your kind of upgrades. It's we'll still rush towards that E upgrade, presumably following up this with the Gwynsues, but yeah, this is a very unusual Kai'Sa build that Looker's brought out.
Looker just trying to see if he can maybe catch people off guard, maybe able to look for a little bit of dueling because he has the Blade of the Rune King.
It is the Vayne build, it still is useful. It's just
not optimal.
Yeah, for sure.
But coming up to 14 minutes in the game, plates have just fallen, so we see pretty much an equal trade in terms of plates. The top lane did go down. Aurelia got a hell of a lot of gold for that, but you now have a 2-0-2 Hecarim, so it kind of nullifies it.
Kind of matching a lot of that as well. As you can see, in terms of items, is pretty close. It's just a little bit behind, probably dagger to that Tiamat. Either way, it's not the major concern for them, as we said, is 202 is pretty happy with the way that plays have gone. Pretty themselves as well in the mid lane has been holding on quite well, able to push in that lane quite heavily. And this is what we talked about when we looked at the draft for Mad Lions. We said you have a lot of pushing lanes, you have that early game jungle winning matchup. It is going to be hard for Devils 1 in the early game, but as it scales into the mid game, that's where they can maybe try to contest. However, Mad Lions also have a good mid game because of the fact you have so much speed up, so much slow downs.
And a flash Skarner impale. That is going to be Looker ulting, flashing, and healing. Gets away, gets the Guardian as well. The board keeps up the speed boost to get away, but that is going to be tower on the bot side falling. Mad Lions make a play. They get the objective. They do not get any more kills.
Still force out all the summoners from Looker alongside that killer instinct. Still very, very impressive to manage to survive that one. Blade of the Rune King coming in clutch, so we are seeing some of the strengths of that item.
Definitely survivability, definitely being one of them. But now that the pressure on bot side is down, you have no summoners on your Kai'Sa. You don't really have any way of getting on top of this dragon. That's going to be another objective going over to Mad Lions. And we talk about this a lot. It's like when we see teams get kills and no objectives. Now we're seeing no kills but objectives, and that's the important thing for the side of Mad Lions.
Yeah, kind of like the Mad Lions Lions of old, just focus completely on those objectives. Of course, Devils 1 have been doing a good job of that as much as they could early on, but again, with no pushing lanes, it's just so difficult for you. You've got one tower down, but the others, I'd say, are sitting pretty healthy.
It's not all doom and gloom for the side of Devils 1, though. They still have the power spikes of the double Triforce with the Aurelia and the Corki. They still have opportunities for it, but like you said, very difficult to find those opportunities. They're going to have to look for some pretty big outplays or from some minor mistakes from the Mad Lions to really get those opportunities.
See if they can find them. One of the benefits I will say from Looker's build is that you proc those concussive blows a bit quicker as well, going for that full attack speed. So it's one of the benefits they can maybe draw from a lane like this. So see, not just from the laning phase, of course, that having gone rather poorly for them, being pushed in constantly, but as they extend outside of the laning phase, if that becomes maybe a concern for Mad Lions, if they get picked off those concussive blows.
Have to wait and see. 16.5 minutes on the clock. It's about 1,000 gold lead, a little bit over, but not too much to really kind of be writing home about. And it's just farm, farm, farm for pretty much everybody right now. Still yet to see a kill for Devils 1, but you know with an Aurelia and a Corki and a Kai'Sa, the opportunity is definitely there. It's about finding it.
Yeah, it's worth noting that a lot of their gold loss is actually in that jungle role, so not the biggest concern for them. However, it is the mid and bot lane that are also ahead for Mad Lions. The top lane, you actually see Aurelia is in the lead just because of that first tower gold, even with Yappa being 2-0-2.
As we come into these kind of mid-game skirmishes, items start being finished up, people are starting to look for a little bit more objective control, a little bit more fighting. What does this mid-game look for Mad Lions? What are they searching for in order to continue this good early game?
Well, no one has a QSS. You just run forward with the Skarner. You have the speed up from Zilean, and if necessary, you have that on the hunt as well. You run forward, get the ult onto one of those less tanky members, and just take them out.
See now if Devils 1 can...
Here we go.
Predator, excuse me, going to be powering through Razor in, and as he said, those QSSs, they can't really move forward onto this. Sengoth going to jump in with the Elastic Slingshot, but a double bomb nicely placed there, gets 2. That's the cell division down. Braum has to use the Glacial Fissure to try and keep it away. Looker can't really get a look on top of this, but they have got the the concussive blows, and that's going to be a trade of junglers, but they get the turret, they back away. It's finally a kill for Devils 1, and more importantly, it goes onto the Kai'Sa.
Okay, Blue Razor as well, and the Skarner is actually the one member that has to be fairly concerned about this Blade of the Ruin King rush from the Kai'Sa. He is trying to build as kind of a tanky member, have a lot of health stacking up. Blade of the Ruin King, you can see, has a pretty easy time chunking through that quite well. I think that's maybe the reasoning we're pulling out for this Blade of the Ruin King build, specifically trying to avoid the Skarner, because you know that's going to be running at you with a huge amount of move speed.
Yeah, steal that move speed, be able to run away, got the invisibility as well, so you've got a lot of different things to deal with that. It could potentially mean you don't have to build the QSS very early, but I would still recommend it, just because you have a Black Shield and an Impale, or sorry, a Black Shield, a Black Dark Binding and an Impale that can literally lock you down, and once you get hit, you're
ignoring
dead.
even the Onslaught of Shadows starting you off, so yeah, exactly. There's a lot of CC you do want to be avoiding here. See now for Devils 1 when that does come through, because right now, still a little behind on some of those spikes you'd like. Has the Triforce on the Aurelia alongside the Tiamat, is a decent amount of damage, but you can see isn't like heavily winning any 1v1 anytime soon, because of course that Triforce is matched on the other side. We'll see if they can get maybe their 80 carries into a better spot, and then you have Syncroft who could force the engages for them. Try to catch Mad Lions off guard, but as you said, not the easiest thing to do with the double spell shield available for them.
Very tentative from both sides. You can see neither really wants to give an inch. They know that both sides of these teams, both Devils 1 and the Mad Lions, can turn an inch into a mile. They do not want to be the reason their team goes 0-1 in this series.
And we've seen so far, Mad Lions on their resurgence did manage to take out Devils 1 in that best of 1. So Devils 1, I'd say, really feeling the pressure here, as well as a team that was, at the start of this, really pushing for that free spot out of play-ins. Didn't manage to get it against SK, and now are at the start of the potential breaking point here, what they need to win to get themselves through to that group stage.
QXS now built for both the Aurelia and the Corki, so you actually have that little bit of defensive stats now, especially as well, you know, get a little bit of magic resistance. It's not amazing, but it's definitely better to have it than not. We actually see maybe Mad Lions forced to back away, that movement speed from Falco Zilean, able to just keep them at distance from the Devils.
And this would be a really big statement as well, considering how close Devils 1 were to beating the first seed in Rogue Elite. If you could turn that around, beat them here as Mad Lions, a real big statement for Spain as a whole and the strength of that as a region.
You know, a lot of people are looking at this. People still believe in the Mad Lions. We know the history. They're stacked in it. A lot of people didn't believe they should be here, and the other Spanish representatives should be, but never mind, we'll have to go back, and it's Looker dies at the top of your screen. They use the package and the kidnap from Zach, and they back away, and that is just, I want to say, just poor positioning from Looker. He didn't even get to flash.
Yeah, he played a little too far up, but at the same, this is the move speed Mad Lions have. They just instantly run forward with everything they have. There's so little time for Looker to respond. Tries to, ends up being burst down anyway.
And that was the power of a QSS and why we were so surprised that he hasn't built it already. Yes, fair enough, he has the 2-item spike with the Guinzus and the Bork, but it just gives you that protection. It stops you from getting caught out, and now they're 2 Infernals down. They are looking at 6 kills to 1. It is still only a 1,500 gold lead, so that gold lead hasn't gone many places. Hextech GLP has to be used. Braum trying to use the Glacial Fisher, not quite able to catch out Pretty. That's another ultimate down, but pressure from Devils 1, they're able to keep pushing in this mid lane.
Well, you have so much wave clear coming out from Pretty at this stage. Should have an easy time avoiding that. And keeps them at bay. You see those glacial augment items being used consistently in these fights. Allow them to find picks like that onto Looker, who just isn't able to get the damage down. Also, the killer instinct unused in that. You can see Watch just completely picked up.
Yeah, love to get a replay of exactly how Looker got caught out, but we'll have to wait and see if that one comes in. So, double Infernal now. Also, we'll love to check to see what Dragon is up as well, just so we know exactly what's going on. Coming into 22 minutes, Baron is on the table, and we haven't really seen Devil Ones go for a really active, proactive team fight. They've mainly gone for these picks.
But they have to be reactive, because it's Mad Lions who are the ones able to make the plays. You see, normally you're like, okay, you have Zach, you have the ability to jump forward, but against that Morgana, it has been so difficult.
Very, very difficult. And you can just see right here the zoning you have as we have a look at this replay here. And I think, yeah, we just see on the top side.
I think with Morgana just ran them down with the Sivir.
Just the dark binding. Just the dark binding. Able to get in with the Sivir. You got the damage, and you know,
one of the things to note as well, talking about the amount of move speed you're stacking, Morgana also gets that move speed on top of her usual Soul Shackles move speed with those changes. She can just run around and do whatever the hell she likes while that ult is charging.
So much, just as you say, just running, just go from the side of Mad Lions, and that's what I like to see. I like to see the fact that, you know, you've given Devils 1 their comfort, like we talked about. You've given them things that we know has been banned against them, and they are, you know, generally seen as quite proficient at, and yet you're still coming out ahead. You're still looking like you won the draft, despite giving away all these power picks, and, you know, I like to see this from Mad Lions. It's very encouraging, but also Devils 1, they need to start turning on, you know, something in this mid game, because they are going to start losing the run of this game.
Here's the Predator proc, though.
Yeah, Predator proc. They are searching up on the top side. Sivir just taking a lot of time to kill off that scuttle. No real vision for Devils 1. The Ultra Liga second seed definitely need to be a bit careful. The big saving grace we talk about a lot is this mid lane turret. It actually is under seed right now. They're trying to take it very short range. Iopha comes in, gets the black shield on top of them. They get a lot of damage on the Syncroft, and they can just back away. The black shield makes those pushes so safe, and the Mad Lions just feeling it right now.
Yeah, Syncroft just keeps having to throw out the Let's Bounce in really awful situations. And that means that makes the Zax so much less scary, because you want to be going in, hitting the AoE, so even if someone's spell shielded, you can do something, but instead...
Yeah, Gazzo does take a massive hit. Dota has to use his stopwatch as well, but now Syncroft's going to try and go back into it. There's the Braum Glacial Fisher as everyone's just jumping in. They have dropped the Zillion ultimate as well. Cell Division has been popped, but it's only to delay the inevitable Blue Resort. Just come back into it. It's a 2-0. Mad Lions in control.
And that's, again, a great place to use that Zac ultimate, but because you used it in an earlier, not even engage, trying to disengage, you end up being unable to do anything. You now don't have a jungler or support to contest this Baron.
Double TPs coming into the mid lane here for Devils 1. They do not want to give this win away, because you can almost feel like that will be the final nail in the coffin. Baron down to about 3,500 health. Vanguard's Edge is still available. He pops it. That's on 4 people. That was a great big corky bomb on the backside. Skarner just focusing, but they actually kill the Hecarim straight away. And now you can see Yappa and Looker are trying to go on top of this Malazar. Gets 1. They get 2. They get 3. They may be able to get 4. And that is almost all of the Baron buffs. They say that there's going to be Savage coming in. One more auto attack. It's the ace. And Devils 1 have nullified everything Mad Lions have tried to achieve.
And that's just Shadow Maga moments right there from Aggressivo. Gets the massive Vanguard's Edge in the center of that Baron, gets the ace, and now they're actually going to be off that Baron, able to even up the gold lead, the slight gold lead now that Mad Lions did have.
Look at, we need a replay of that Baron fight. You're 3v5. You don't really have a way of securing it, but they go in. Like you said, the Vanguard's edge for Agresivo was available, and they hit a massive Corki bomb as well. Let's have a look at this one here. Agresivo goes in and hits 4 people.
There it is. Gets everyone caught in that aside from Yappa. They force 2 stopwatches straight away, and it still doesn't matter because Agresivo is able to flash out the back while the rest of the team comes in and starts pumping out the damage. This is where you have the 2-item spike for Kai'Sa being incredibly useful because you're able to just pop up a lot of damage. And in fairness to Samuk, a really good one to turn into a 1-for-1, but it's okay for Madislaw there because you are denying their very last Baron.
Yeah, and now we're going to see the 3rd Infernal Drake spawn. Mad Lions would have loved this to be able to completely put this down into the ground.
They may still be able to get it.
They may still be able to.
Packages up though for Madislaw.
Be careful. Predator and the Trill of the Hunt popped. Straight away, here we go. Here comes Sinkoff trying to go in. Vanguard's edge probably used to in a little bit of defensive job, but just keeping everyone on the backside of this. Blue Azor does pick up Syncroft. And unfortunately, when your jungler goes down, Mad Lions, they take the little hit. They go, okay, we're good. We're going to come back into this, and their comp is just still so damn strong.
Yeah, smart reset for them, even just mentally there to go, look, our comp is still fine. Big issue there was Aurelia got in right on top of us. That's why you saw as soon as Agresivo was spotted, Yappa just runs them out of the fight. Make sure you don't get everyone with that Vanguard's edge. Keep them away. And once they can do so, Blue Resort is able to choose a different target to hit with that Impale, and they pick up the fight quite easily.
Triple Infernal Drake now. It's only 1,000 gold lead, but this mid-tier 1 turret is not long for this world. Here we go. Onslaught of Shadows goes in, gets a triple fear. Everybody just trying to be displaced right now. Good route there with the bomb. They pop down the Zilean ultimate. Kai'Sa has gone down. They get the resurrection as well. Yappa looking very, very strong, but will fall. Madislaw is the one who picks up that one. Now they're trying to go into Agresivo. He's trying to just get the reset, trying to do as much as he can, but like you said, Tig, so much disengaged, so much ways of getting away, and this is why Morgana is so commonly banned.
You see that as soon as they start going for the engage, you throw out the GLP, those giant frost lines that just say, get the hell away from my team. And now it's Mad Lions just able to retreat comfortably from that. Yeah, Yappa goes down, they force the Zilean ultimate, but Zilean ultimate's almost already up again. And of course, Yappa as well will respawn soon.
It goes on to like literally like I think it's like a minute 10 cooldown.
I mean,
like
the champion,
16, it goes to like 45
is just
seconds.
An ultimate. It is. Ugh.
You have 2 champions nearly that are just ultimates, but at the end of the day, when you have a Sivir, when you have a Hecarim and a Morgana, like this is literally a Sivir just reigns with those ricochets.
I mean, the whole thing as well, you can just watch it. They just run into the center of the fight with the Onslaught of Shadows. Looker uses the QSS, uses the Killer Instinct, and it still doesn't matter. Yappa's just able to sit on top of them and get away with it because of Zilean as well. And there's also the move speed increase as well, increasing that damage from Hecarim, becoming very scary on that champion. And you'll even see the GA finished up for the Hecarim as well, so has another revive coming in these fights, so even scarier again, Yappa on this Hecarim. But yeah, Zilean's such a frustrating champion. I remember I was told basically the best way to deal with them, my boyfriend was like, look, if you need to deal with them, just imagine him as just a sentient clock that's dragging around this old man. It makes him so much less frustrating when you just imagine this.
Zilean is actually is actually the clock. It's not actually the person. He just happened to hit someone as he was going through time.
Yeah. Much easier.
Yeah, look, there it is. Zilean is the clock. It's not the person.
Yeah, that's why you get no facial expressions. Ignoring that no one else does facial expressions in the game. It's Zilean has no facial expressions because it's just a clock.
Yeah, does have a face though.
We're not doing this. We're not doing that terrible attempt at wordplay here.
Oh dear. But 30 minutes on the clock now. We are looking at a 2,000 gold lead. It's still not out of reach, but like you said, so difficult for Devils 1 to get onto this.
It's much like when we used to watch Shadowmaga, though. A lot of this is sitting on Agresivo's Aurelia. It is, can you make that giant fight happen? Because if not, the rest of your team doesn't look like they're in a position to pick up the slack.
I will, however, say the positives for Devils 1. They've got 4 QSSs. They've got the ways of dealing with those kind of single-target CCs.
I mean, but last fight, Syncroft was the one who was impaled.
That's true. That's very, very true.
The last member, I assume that Null Magic Mantle is building towards a QSS as well,
almost certainly. Almost certainly. He's waiting for 850 gold to be in his thing after the Null Magic Mantle, and he's just going to buy that one straight off. Yeah, he's got 500 gold to go, so he's got a little while to wait for that one. But while that's
no
all
jungle
happening,
to farm.
No jungle to farm, because either his team is taking it or the Mad Lions have just taken it away from him. But Baron now coming up in less than a minute. We still see the Aurelia pushing down this bot side. Agresivo has got the teleport available very, very soon. Should actually be able to pick this up.
Should have the 1v1 as well against Yappa, because you can see actually is pretty far ahead in terms of gold. Has those 3 items on top of the QSS, so it's pretty scary in their own right there. A lot of armor has been rushed by Yappa, but still would expect Aurelia to be able to take that. Specifically, that Sterak's passive should be the real game changer.
We'll see, this game's still so damn close. The Spanish Mad Lions looking very good, looking very comfortable with the Devils 1. The Polish powerhouse is proving why they're here. Able to get that huge ace at the Baron. And as I say that though, we're going to see the Spooky Ghost put out, QSS and Flash burned by the prop, and then we're going to see the Vanguard that maybe used. There it is. They're trying to go in with Syncroft, trying to get as much damage as they possibly can. Blue Resort maybe going down here. He does have a little bit of a time as he gets resurrected. Now they're just waiting for that to come back up. Here comes Yappa with the onslaught of Shadows. Brom just get the ultimate down, but it's not going to be enough for him to stay alive in this fight. Syncroft gets a nice big 3-man knockup. They do get
Killer
it out. Here
instinct.
comes Looker with the killer instinct. They get the Cell Division down, and it's a huge fight for Devils 1. They've paid their prices. They've paid their early game, and they're looking to potentially go for the Baron.
And this 3-item spike of the Kai'Sa is insane. It's much like that. Oh no! Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Okay. The big one for me is the 3-item spike you're seeing as soon as the Kai'Sa is able to play out the edge of that fight. I was actually worried because I did literally say it looks like it's all on Agresivo. But once that fight, you saw Looker able to move back. Madaslaw, that consistent damage was raining down. And you can see with the Gwinsus, with the Renans, it's just Kai'Sa shredding through everyone with those procs.
And not only that, but like we did see, that was Mad Lions looking for the engage. That was Mad Lions trying to get to it, and for the first time, they couldn't lock anyone down.
But watch as well the spell shield uses. Samux was forced to use theirs early, so the black shield was forced onto the Sivir. You then had Syncroft jumping onto the backline, and while not catching anyone, forced a lot of flashes, forced everyone to be disengaging. So you then had Mad Lions re-engage with the Hecarim, with that Skarner, but the Skarner was already chucked. Zillion ult had already been used, so when that re-engage came in, they were missing a lot of those key tools they wanted to be able to use every single team fight that had already been forced by Devils 1.
And not only that, Yappa just arrived straight up too late. It was kind of like he arrived, they had already used, as you say, a lot of the key ultimates. The Zillion ult was down, and they just came in. He was like, I'm ulting. He's like, oh, I'm being absolutely shredded right now, because he has no real resistances against his Kai'Sa.
Yeah, it's like the classic Legend of Zelda thing. You whistle for your horse, and it's like, no, it's out of range.
Yeah. Literally, it's like, oh, damn it. Epona, where are you? But like, this is honestly, that's a huge fight for Devils 1, and you know, it completely shifts the momentum. It looked like it was all Mad Lions. However, I want to say, even with this, you know, Baron buff coming in, there is so much wave clear.
There is a lot of wave clear. Sivir as well is something that I can even make the difference when you don't have a mid laner with wave clear. Morgana is still a mid laner with wave clear, so you do have plenty here, right? The issue is you are now under pressure. You now have this big AoE damage coming out, that double AD carry. The concussive blows as well follow up in that quite nicely, and the Glacial Fissure line being set up. Even with the amount of engage you have, you don't feel as comfortable when you're not the ones able to do it. We're likely going to see this go down very quickly.
Almost certainly going to go over. It's not the clean ace. They only did miss out on Falco going down, but
and
Baron
escaping with
over.
nothing. They may actually be able to get an inhib tower here, maybe even the inhib as well, because Madaslaw decided to refocus here, has a decent-sized wave, and a good amount on those death timers to push. Falco's going to try to defend.
Yeah, not really much the Zillion's going to be able to do realistically. Got one wave, and like you said, going to be able to crack open the base. That's actually pretty big. It's something that we've seen Mad Lions struggle with so far in this
scared
game.
Though. Once you hit them with that slow, you go, okay, people are respawning. We should get out of here. Let's be careful.
Yeah, we'll
they
see.
Back up.
Doesn't want to lose a Baron buff. Does not want to be caught out with that, as it did slow down the Mad Lions when they did not have any of them left after that fight. That tower is on absolutely nothing. One auto attack from either the Kai'Sa or the Corki, or even the Aurelia at this stage, will bring that down. Cloud Drake is going to go
Cloud
over
Drake
to
started, just sat back down. You know what, guys?
I'm not feeling it. I'm just like, you know, no one really wants me. You're taking me so you can reset towards the Elder Drake, which is exactly
denying
what
it from the ridiculous move speed comp, though.
Yes,
so
it
may be good.
Passive health to Yappa, but
at this point, they're probably hitting the movement speed cap. For those who don't know, there is just kind of a hard cap on move speed where each, let's say, 100 you're adding is worth so much less. Is worth like maybe 50, maybe even less than that. I can't remember the exact numbers on it, but either way, you just lose a lot of the percentages at a certain point. But once you're hitting that, you're already moving fast enough for the game to start struggling to calculate.
see exactly where Devils will want to take this Baron buff. Looks like they're just 5-manning it into that mid lane. They have got the team con to go for that front to back fight. As you said, here we go.
The poke, though.
Trying to go for something. So much poke being put down. There is the Hextech GLP put down just to try and zone back out. They break open the inhibitor. That's what they wanted. They back away, and now they can look to try and get pressure in these side lanes.
It's the poke on both sides. It's those that can heal are doing fine, but those that can't, you can see Synchroff and Erdota being forced to back off. And on the other side, you saw Falco and Pretty actually being choked out pretty heavily. Pretty, of course, actually having the ability to heal with that passive, still struggling here.
And we see huge items on a lot of these carries for the mid laners, for the AD carries as well. You're looking at a 4-item Sivir. Black Shield comes out, that does force the Valkyrie from
Yappa's already half health though.
Yappa is half health, he's going to try and heal back a little bit of it, but again, they can't really push this in. Like we said, the Sivir, the Morgana, they have so much wave clear on this Mad Lions team that it just becomes so scary, and you still are looking down the barrel of a triple Inferno Mad Lions.
But you now have the redemption finished up on the Braum. I think that's what they're looking for. It's like, okay guys, now when we commit to the siege, we have that little bit extra.
Oh, this is a tense. The gold lead has not gone further than about 3k at this point.
One thing to note as well, that Synchroff looks like they didn't decide to go for that QSS, is just relying on going for the adaptive helm and going, look, if you're ulting me, I'm probably doing enough for my team, denying that Skarner ultimate in general.
And
I think that's fair.
Passive.
I think that's fair, yeah.
He can survive it technically, I suppose.
I mean, and impaling the Zac isn't doing that much, right? It's just, it was funny to know that, okay, wait.
Whoa, Looker goes in, gets rooted, may have to use the QSS straight away, does, but then he gets suppressed and feared. There is Blue trying to get so much up, but they get the resurrection down onto the Zillion. I don't really know exactly what happened there with Yappa. He just kind of went in and died.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that and go, like, it went 1-for-1 at least.
Yeah,
but
I don't know where the damage came from.
Oh, I know exactly where it came from. You saw Madaslaw and Looker just start to shred through. So 1-for-1 is okay here. Not your ideal, but at least denies some of the potential engage coming out from Mad Lions, allows them enough pressure to push for that inhib. And now you're seeing move down towards this bot lane here. You see that tower now going to be pressured out by the Aurelia. The team maybe going to join in there.
Yeah, they have got a minute left on this Baron, or just about under it, so they have a little bit of time. Actually, just ran out as I said that, so don't have the Baron power play, so now they reset, they had the waves pushing, and then they just try and calm it down and come back in.
Okay, they allow for the reset here. You have the 4v4 still on the map. Looker about to come up, Yappa is about the same. You can see Looker's not scared to go in. That's the big picture.
Well, that is definitely something we can confirm.
Erdota, also I really liked how quick they were in the communication. You went, Looker, okay, you're diving in, I'm quickly following, trying to protect you, throw the shield down. Not quite enough now, but still, you can see the amount you could force very quickly with this Kai'Sa. At this point, we were saying it's very similar to that Vayne build. The one big difference is that it hits AoE like a truck.
Yeah, especially when you get potentially what I can imagine is an Infinity Edge. That is a full damage Kai'Sa with the Bork. Has got the Mercurial Scimitar.
I will say I was hoping for a full damage Kai'Sa. Tank Kai'Sa doesn't really do it for me.
And you know what? I gotta agree with you right there. Like, let's have a quick stock of the items. We're into 36 minutes. This is late game now. We're seeing big items now for all sides. Almost full pretty much across the board. Aurelia has got full items apart from that upgraded QSS to a Mercurial Scimitar. Corki as well, sitting on triple crit with the Triforce, has got a lot of front-loaded damage with that. And then on the side of the Mad Lions, you have got the Sivir now on full crit damage, waiting for one more item, and she's full 6 items.
Mad Lions need to be the ones engaging for them to win these fights, so they have the abilities to do so, but they need to find Devils 1 in positions they're not comfortable in, and right now Devils 1 have found many comfortable positions.
Devils 1, it started off so shaky for them, you just felt like there was just not much they could do about it, but bit by bit, slowly by slowly, their solo laners, Agresivo and Madaslaw, clawed back that mid game, and now it's on the likes of Looker and Madaslaw to really bring this in.
Elder Dragon, though, this is where another point of contention. Yes, the Baron's spawning soon, but it's Elder that comes first. Mad Lions have that 4 Dragon one to go with. Agresivo.
Agresivo gets locked up. He does hit a Boomerang Blade to the face. Does he about half health? Yappa, one auto attack, does so much damage to him. Black Shield, or Black Dark Binding, I should say, has hit. Samux now taking a little bit of poke himself. Devils 1 have priority in this mid lane. They may look for the pinch coming into this there. The Flawless Duet does not hit. And looks like they're going to back away. And like you said, it's the Elder Drake and Baron both spawned right now. Which one do they go for a trade, or do they go for the fight?
They would rather, I would say, go for the Baron, but denying that Elder could be very big. Mad Lions, again, with the ability to engage, that extra damage could mean the difference between a game where Looker can open up a fight where you just allow this Kai'Sa to shred everyone, and one where Mad Lions just instantly burst you. In comes the Elder Dragon start.
Yeah, package has been burnt. They're going to burn through this pretty damn quickly as we see there.
Blue
Spooky goes. Blue Resort trying to go into this. Has got the potential to try and steal this. He will just go for it straight away. He gets the steal! And now the ensuing team fight goes in. There's the onslaught of shadows on the back line, and everyone just trying to come in. Aggressivo has got a snare drop. They do pop him off. And now Skarner goes down. It's actually a 1-for-none trade. 2 resurrections coming on this, but they're so low on the side of Devil's One. Zach is now down. Samus has got so much health left on him. He gets 1. He gets 2. He maybe gets 3. But Looker is still doing so much damage. He's got 3 people around him. He may still be able to do it. He's just going. He's gone. He's gone. It's a double kill. Full house. Triple on double. And it's Mad Lions who come out on top.
It's the amount of damage they should be getting with that Elder Dragon, with that Infernal, but with the double TP. Can they end it on this timer? They have 30 seconds. Watch Synchrov's timer. He's the first one up. 22 seconds till that Zac. You have a lot of quick damage coming in from Yappy, coming in from Pretty. They should at least be able to get the inhib here.
I was just about to say, I don't think they have the time for the full end, but they definitely have time for inhib. This is a very, very close game 1, and this is exactly what we wanted from the Super League of C2 and the Ultra League of C2. This is the kind of League of Legends that EU Masters is all about. 2 massive regions fighting for their spot in the EU Masters group stage.
Are you still 2 Elder Dragons on that side? 2 very strong Elder Dragons as well. Ignoring the fact that it's just the amount of dragons they have, which increases the burn, being able to double the stats of a triple Infernal is goddamn insane. At the very least. Following that, then you have... At the very least. Following that, you have this Baron that they can now pressure with the extra damage they have on these specific carries. You have the Morgana damage coming through. Already burns for a huge amount. Why not follow it up with more Elder Dragon burning? And Yappa, who is such an important part of their team fight, as you can see, was the one thing that actually was able to take out Looker towards the end here. It will look to do so again. This could be the way they end the game if they can find a fight.
If they can find a fight. Black Shield is down, but they're going to pop the on the hunt. There's one auto attack on the Aggressivo. He's coming back. Yappa is like a train running at everybody. They have to back away immediately, but that means that they have not got priority on this Baron. They're going to have to reset. The inhibitor in mid lane for Mad Lions, incredibly important, has respawned. Do they look for the Baron right here, or is it going to be a full fight?
It will be contested, though, if they go for it, and that's the thing. I think that's what Mad Lions want. They want a turnaround fight where they can take them. They're actually going to leave Samus to solo out the dragon. He does so much damage to him.
He can do so much. He has got the Bloodthirster on top of him, so he's got the shield, he's got the sustain. They're just going to go down. It's down to about 2/3 HP, half HP. Now the side of Devil Ones realize something is up. They're just chugging all the vision they can possibly do, but there's so much sustain on the side of Mad Lions, they can back away. Spooky goes out again. Here is Blue Resort trying to go in on top of this. They're trying to find their Dota. He's separated away from the team. Yappa does get the onslaught of shadows, but only on the 2. He will eventually go down in the resurrection, but Air Dota, importantly, has gone down. There's no protection for the backside. Oh, Devil's One as he brings everyone in. That's going to be Synchro trying to do his best to keep it. Yappa gets another resurrection. They've killed him twice. Now, they only lose the GA and the Zillion ultimate. They gain a kill onto the Braum, and the top lane is pushing in. This is Mad Lions Baron.
Aggressivo and Synchro forced away. As you said, it's got to be the Baron for them. They're actually going to be contested by Looker, by Madislaw. Aggressivo TPing in as well, while Synchro holds the base. Let's see what Devil One can do here with just 3 members.
We've seen this before. They do get the Baron. Devil's One, which is a little bit too far behind him. He gets 1. He's just going to try and find Looker right here. No flash, no heal, and no way out. It's going to be Mad Lions taking the Baron. Mad Lions dealing with their Devils, and they're going to go 1-0 up in this series.
Devils 1 about to go 1-0 up here. You're waiting for them now to run through. Aggressivo's alive, but with no Vanguard's Edge, you've got to think they have so few plays to make. Mad Lions are going to run this down, finish it out on these Nexus towers.
No engage for Syncroft right there as the output does go in. There's the onslaught of shadows back out. Aurelia falls. Air Dota falls. The Nexus will be next to follow. Mad Lions are 1-0 up against the Ultra Liga C2 Devil.
We'll see. I will be curious to see whether they go for Corki in that mid lane again. Oh, look at this, a Prophet, mate. Saying the Sliver ban. I'd be curious to see if they go for a Corki, because I think Jarvan works best when you have an aggressive mid laner, which I don't really consider Corki to be.
Yeah, looks like Exodia's not happening.
I think you probably have to ban...
Go on, what Crystal Ball, mate? You've already got it once.
Nah, you probably just have to ban Gnar next, right? For
here we go.
For
Is it going to be the Gnar ban?
No, not this one, the Mad Lions ban. This one, maybe you... I don't know, maybe you ban... No, I wasn't thinking that, but you know.
That's fine. You didn't say anything, so you couldn't get it wrong.
Yeah, I mean...
You said the Gnar, though.
Yeah, I said the Gnar. You know, I think if you are going down the lines of making Hecarim safe in the top lane, you probably ban the Gnar away from Aggressivo, just in case that Aurelia can flex. It's whether Mad Lions think that it's going to flex, I think, is the question.
I reckon. You know what? I'm happy. If this isn't no, I'm very happy for you.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
it's Victor.
Terrible analysis.
Zoe's
Get
open,
out
by
of
the
here.
way.
Why is Victor ban? I don't get it.
I actually would like to see them pick up their AD here, get what's left open. That Kaiser, I mean, Lucka looked very good on the Kaiser, so just pick that again. That works.
Luck
for
looks
them.
good on everything. Can I just
See,
say, like he's
yeah,
a really good
true.
AD carry. He's
True.
played really well so
Wouldn't be
far.
mad to see the Vayne either, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad to see the Vayne. I'd prefer the Kaiser realistically, but they're actually going to go for the Zayas. They are changing something there. Now,
I don't get that.
depending on what Mad Lions decide to pick here, that Zoe is open. And I'd be surprised if we don't see it, really. Unless a big counter gets picked.
When the cards are on the table, I think, you know, Matters Law defaulting to Zoe is probably a pretty good idea. They look like they're running with a more early game composition here, looking to take over in the mid game. Maybe don't make the same mistakes and fall behind. Kaiser's actually going to go over to Mad Lions. So Mad Lions is going to still have some late game prowess coming through on their bottom side of the map, but it definitely feels like Devils 1 are trying to take a hold of the mid game in this composition, not let Mad Lions get into the game and try and win from that position. Because I think, again, if you go late versus this Mad Lions composition, you're probably just losing. So I think the Zoe fits in quite nicely here.
Alright, once
very
again,
similar.
yeah.
The only difference here is that Siva's now turned into a Kaiser, which, you know, she doesn't have that R button, which allows you to speed up the rest of your squad, but Kaiser is still a strong champion in her own right, and definitely fits into this composition as well if you think about following up the engage from Yopper and stuff like that.
Morgana's pretty good.
choice here.
Morgana's quite good into Zoe though, which is why I didn't think the Zoe would come through. So
Plus, they're so speedy. Like, it's hard to land skill shots on people who are currently at 10,000 miles an hour. So, Syndra instead.
okay.
I do like this pick here. I do like this one. So the thing with Morgana is she will push you in endlessly. She has the black shield, so the chances of killing with Morgana are pretty low. But with Syndra, you kind of just pick up the farm, then you get to a point where you have like your 1 item, your 2 item, and you can then leave this lane, especially if you start playing around with your Jarvan. I mentioned I like a bit more of an aggressive mid laner when you have the Jarvan, and Syndra has so much damage, so much kill potential with that unleashed power. I want to see what they can do with Devils 1.
this is definitely like Devils 1 changing the pace of their composition and saying, right, we're going to take the initiative, we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be the ones that don't let you get to late game instead of it going to late game where they have that 50-50 kind of late game versus late game composition. So gentlemen, as these compositions have now been locked in, I would like some brief thoughts and predictions.
I think that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and Mad Lions have certainly, well, they've drafted that exact same thing, right, pretty much. So the thing is for me is that because last game was such a toss-up, like I know Mad Lions won, and it's just that's all you're gonna see if you look at the scoreboard. Bam, Mad Lions won, Devils 1-0. Devils could have easily won that game, and I think the adaptations they've made, I think personally, suit their style a bit more, especially with what we're seeing out of the jungle and mid synergy here. So I want to see a 3-game series because it's more exciting. So I want to see if I can give it to Devils 1 this game.
I'm going to stick with what worked for me last game. I'm going to go for Mad Lions.
I have been tooting Mad Lions' horn for, you know, a good few days here, so I'm going to continue on the Superliga Orange fandom. I'm going to go for Mad Lions myself. That means it's time to throw back up to the boys in the green, white and orange. It's going to be Blood Penguin and Celtics. See you soon.
You know, claps all round. Well done, Excoundrel. You know your flags. But yes, thank you so much, Excoundrel. We are here to bring you game 2 of Mad Lions versus the Polish. Can we call them a powerhouse anymore? Because they've kind of dropped a couple of games.
The Polish team.
The Polish team of Devils 1. But Superliga now looking like the Superliga against the Ultraliga, who are really looking for redemption.
30 seconds until
I
minions
see
spawn.
Samux as well is going for that press the attack Kaisa, so definitely will have that stronger kind of towards the later stages of the game. We'll appreciate that little bit of extra damage as well, as we saw from Looker playing in the previous game. You go for a bit of strange build there. I wonder if Samux will follow suit, or you'll go for the standard Stormrazor Kaisa. On the other side though, Xayah Braum is actually not that uncommon. Generally when you couldn't get the Rakan with the Xayah, you just went for the Braum as well, because you get those concussive blows down, you have the feathers through that stunned person, you drag them back, a lot of CC and a lot of damage following.
Absolutely, and we'll see. Like they said on the desk, you know, it was an incredibly close game. It was back and forth. It was like a roller coaster of like, Mad Lions are ahead, no Devils are ahead. And it definitely looks very, very close right up until the last team fight. So Devils 1, they can take solace in that and knowing that, yes, certain things worked, certain things didn't, and we know what we can do better to force this to a game 3.
The one thing I do like from the Devils, this game around is that they have a bit of better push in the lanes. They have, again, a more aggressive jungle matchup that they can actually try and match in the early game. It means they're not playing this mid game from behind, presuming that they play to the strength of this comp. Because, of course, Mad Lions still are decently strong at that portion of the game. Not quite as relatively strong as before, but certainly are still comfortable.
See exactly how this early game pans out. And early Drake's definitely in favor of Mad Lions in the last game. Nice level 2 there. Gets the scatter of the week with the orb. Gets a lot of damage. Good trade there for Mad as well. Feeling a little bit more comfortable potentially on this Syndra than he was against with the Corki.
Yeah, and again, when people are wondering why you don't go for the Zoe into Morgana is horrendous. A lot of people don't realize as well, with those changes to the way the E works on that Zoe, with Morgana, you can just Black Shield during that tick down of the sleep, and it just denies the stun entirely. So it means that even if you land the E, Zoe is completely useless against Morgana. Better to just get rid of it.
And you see there, Syncroft did go through the mid lane, was spotted obviously, but they also had a ward there in the river, so they knew that the scuttle was taken. They also went in the aggressive invade from the Aurelia, so Aggressivo was making sure that the blue buff had been taken, just giving more information to Syncroft. And he didn't have a bad game last time, but his early game definitely left a lot to be desired.
It's Zac though. That's
that is very, very true.
So I want to see Syncroft now, who has kind of leaned towards the Zac, and again, it has been banned away. Now off the Zac, on something that should be seen in the early game a bit more, with lanes that are a bit more early present as well. Where do you actually see this Jarvan focus? Because for now, it's just all focused on the farm.
Farm, get you those levels. Level 3, obviously very strong enough for Syncroft. Has got those double buffs, so we'll start hunting, see if he can find anything, and maybe look for something in this mid lane. Hard to gank a Black Shield, but we'll do his very, very best. There's the stun. Scatter the week locks in. There's the flash. Flashback on top of it. One more auto attack, and Syncroft does exactly what you want him to do.
Really well played by Madislaw there as well. You wanted Syncroft to show up, but Madislaw just starts with the amazing Scatter the Week combo that Pretty Green wasn't prepared for at all. And then once that combos, it's just a bunch of quick damage to follow with that electrocute. Well played.
Yeah, there is a Q landing on the Falco, forced to flash away. We saw this last game as well. He doesn't have the greatest of times against the Braum Brazilian, but as long as he's able to not feed, he should be okay.
Now to have that said, generally you pick the Zillion into the Braum because it is actually quite good against Braum. Of course, once that shield goes up, you guarantee yourself the stun. The big thing, though, is without the Sivir, you don't have the same control over this wave. And more importantly, up against the Xayah, who tends to have good control over waves, you're seeing them under a lot more pressure.
Might see a return now, actually. Brurazor gonna walk into Syncroft. They're gonna have a little fun thing. Hello. Back away. Q goes down, drops down the flag, and a ward backs away. Going to clear himself of a ward. Madislaw has got priority, so is able to help him out.
Even steals the ward. Hey, I got priority. I'm coming here for something.
I did my job, damn it.
Is Brurazor?
They're really looking to pressure this now, and you actually see them, they're actually in full vision walking up to this top side. Huge wave has been pushed in. You can see Yoppa trying to just keep it away, but it is tanking up a little bit to Syncroft. They go in with the flawless duet. There's the knock up. There's the Q into the scatter of the weak. Syncroft picks himself up another kill, but on the bot side, Falco with no flash. They trade 80 carry for support overall, a 1-for-1.
But it does mean, of course, Samox will be able to continue to just farm up that wave, so not the best trade in the world for you. The big thing for me, though, there in that top lane is, this is what we talked about in the previous game. Look, you want to pressure this Hecarim early. He doesn't have the flash available, doesn't have a lot of disengage available early on. And because of that, you see that they are able to move up there, even in vision, the Hecarim being given very few options. I like what Yoppa tried to force them to tank the tower, but even then didn't end up tanking for very long.
And like you said, better overall for Samox as well on the bot side. They didn't get the kill, but he does pick up the farm. They also, both supports picking it up. He also keeps his flash, whereas there are no summoners now for the bot side of Devils 1. We'll see now, much more aggressive Syncroft right now, and as you say that,
wait a second.
They were not seen, I don't think. Now they will be, as we're going to see them pop off. They know now, as a human ward of Syncroft was going in. He does get the double knock up and gets the hell out of dodge.
Spotted, by the way.
Yes.
Just shows up and goes, yep.
It'd be really funny if you didn't have vision on him. He did that, and you lost vision on him. Here we go. See Brurazor trying to go in on this. There's a flash. But there is the onslaught of shadows. It's going to mean Yoppa picking up that one, but another turret shot will mean that Syncroft picks up his third. This jungler getting a lot of gold very, very early. That's going to be more pressure towards that top side. Both the flash and the TP were both used by Aggressivo, but the ignite and the TP used by Yappa, so they'll both be walking.
Hecarim a lot faster though.
Arguably so.
Yeah, these are flat stats, BP.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much of an argument here.
Well, I didn't know if he was going to pick up boots or not. I didn't know if Aggressivo was going to go rush for those Mobies. You don't
even, yeah, okay. Mobies I'll give you. Mobies I'll give you, but you just have that. You have the E, you know? It's just so fast.
Gotta go fast. He's like the Sonic the Hedgehog of the League of Legends universe. He's big
that is Rammus. Don't be silly.
Oh my god, you're absolutely 100% correct. I'm so sorry. That is 100% correct. What would he be then? I don't think there is any kind of fast horses.
I think they just didn't do horses as a thing there. I think they'll be terrifying in the kind of Sonic art style.
That's a very good point.
Speaking of which, have you seen that Sonic movie poster? That's terrifying. Also, so is this potential dive, so Yappa's hopping out, but that is a terrifying movie poster.
That is a terrifying movie poster.
That character shouldn't exist in that form.
No, and top lane, as you said, it is terrifying as well. There's a Cataclysm in. Yappa, no flash, no way out of this either. They get the stun with the scatter, or so weak. They do drop the unleash power as well. Blue Resort trying to do as much as he can. He is slowed, forced to flash. Gets himself out, but there's turret plates galore now going over to the side of Devils 1. Much more proactive early game from the side of the Polish Powers.
Yeah, and Matt is off, showing up on top of this top lane, giving very little room for Yappa. And I like this as well, because Aggressivo was so important to being the big carry, the big potential turnaround for Devils 1 in that first game. Now it's being given a lot of focus early on from Synkrov, from Madislaw, and allowing that to kind of foster a huge lead up there.
Yeah, 20 CS up on the top side, 2 plates, and the thing is as well, like, he's not, the fact that, you know, Madislaw is able to roam up to that and lose very little is also, you know, commendable as well.
On the other side, though, the bot lane has been struggling, especially after that first kill. Samux and Falco have been able to play up again. Now Falco, with that bit of extra mana, with the Frostfang, has had a bit more of a comfortable time throwing out those bombs and helping Samux do their job. And we were talking about how the Xayah does that presence, does that ability to push forward the wave, but when you start to fall behind this Kai'Sa, you can really play quite far up in it, especially when you have this Zilean Braum support matchup.
It's all about the solo lanes for Devils 1, and you can see that in the way they play, but they get a favorable back timing. That's going to be an early Mountain Drake. Nice to have that in the pocket.
Really good when you're already losing this bot lane matchup as well, to be able to pick up the dragon, deny one of the big objectives you can get off that winning bot lane. So Devils will be pretty happy with this, and then Synkrov can go refocus towards that top side.
Said focus towards that top side, make sure that you're getting Aggressivo that little bit further ahead than he was in that last game, and I like this from Devils 1. It's much different from what we saw from them in the first game. Mad Lions had the tempo, Mad Lions are making the proactive plays. This one, with the tools they have with the Jarvan, they're able to make much more big plays in this early game.
Yeah, and we did throw up questions about Synkrov, right? Look, you've been very comfortable on the Zac. We want to see you in the early game. We absolutely have. 301 on this Jarvan is looking quite nice, has that Cinder Hulk finished. Now though, Lurazor is moving towards this bot side, is looking to capitalize on the lead they do have. Dota have their backs camped.
Yeah, we're sitting on a ward, so very hard to do that, you know, when you're trying to get an easy back timing off. Are going to see Kai'Sa building in towards the BF swords, so a little bit of a more standard build, not the Blade of the Rune King start like we saw Looker go with.
This is the Storm Razor. This will get you those Q and E evolutions quite quickly. It is nice for you.
And there is the Impale there, heal. Not a lot of damage put down yet. The Unbreakable does pick up a lot of it there. Is the stopwatch. Irido trying to get out, flashes out. Does get a very good knock-up actually as well. And they're able to get out with their lives. A lot invested from the side of Mad Lions, also a lot invested to get out from Devils 1.
I was actually expecting just the instant W out from Dota, but decided to throw down the stopwatch. Ends up with the exact same play as expected going down, but does end up delaying enough for Devils 1, I guess, to very comfortably get this. Realistically, with the jungler on the bot side, would have been able to do that regardless, but, you know, I'm gonna try make that a reasoning for this play.
But also at the same time, yes, you are always going to get that Rift Herald as a trade-off, but there is no real trade-off. Yes, they get a plate, but it was kind of always going to happen. You don't lose any kills. No real kind of, you know, loss as such. You know, you're already in a losing lane. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but there are the feathers flying. They get a lot of damage down there. Looker and Samux need to be very, very careful.
They also need to reset this wave, though, and that's where their issue is. Right now, Samux, it looks like they're going to be able to freeze it. They have to back off on the side of Devils 1.
They're not actually going to, yeah. They should have, is probably what they could. They should have froze it, but all that pressure in the top side. Hasn't even dropped the Rift Herald there, so Rift Herald's still
They need
available,
to.
and they're just getting loads and loads of pressure onto this top side. But there's the Onslaught of Shadows, only lands down onto Aggressivo, trying to see if Yoppa can do anything. Flawless Duet will land, and the rest of Mad Lions are just too far behind. Nothing else will come of that play.
Yeah, a bit of an unusual one there from Yoppa. If you can't get behind them, can't fear them towards your team, you're just not going to have them be able to catch up with you. Remember, you're probably the fastest member on your team. Either way, does mean that Madaslaw gets a bunch of plates in the mid lane as well. And start looking at this gold, 3k in the lead for Devils 1, even with that losing bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is a much stronger Devils 1 that we've seen in this early game, and this is kind of what we expected to see from them coming into this matchup. They were touted as one of the stronger teams from one of the stronger regions coming into this team fight.
But also the way they adapt to the draft, right? I mean, ignoring, we'll say, the bigger kind of storyline here, the bigger picture, you could see that once they adapted to that game one, they went, look, we need something that actually shows up in the early game because that gave Mad Lions so much control. This time around, they pick things in the early game. They execute on those things in the early game. Specifically, Syncroft and Madaslaw have done quite well to maintain control, and it has given Aggressivo the much-needed room up in that top lane, given Madaslaw the continued control over that mid lane, and now those plates are very quickly falling. With that Rift Herald to follow, would expect you're going to finish off one of those towers. I would recommend the mid lane, as it's traditionally one of the hardest to crack.
Yeah, and we just saw the Morgana go back, so Syncroft almost certainly going to pop this one here. They know exactly what's going down. That's going to be the mid lane going down. That's a lot of gold that's going to be going over to Madaslaw. But Syncroft says, hey, that's my Rift Herald, man. I want a bit of that gold too. 410 each. And there we go. Cataclysm popped down. Bruiser trying to go on top of this. The Spellmoon able to get the Impale down as well. Bruiser stat check. Not quite enough to bring him down. He did have to flash away. Second charge from the Rift Herald does go in to get a nice bit of chip damage, but no one goes down. Pressure, though, in
Look at
favor
the top
of
lane, though. They're moving all the way up here, and they're going to dive Yoppa as the 3-man, knowing that no one's there to respond.
Yeah, they are going to try and dive him. 2 key ultimates, though, not available for Madaslaw and Syncroft. They get the teleport. That's all they wanted to get. They back away, and that's going to be pretty much using that just as a keep away.
Yeah, you know, that's just the all chat. Nice TP, by the way.
Yeah.
Just take that out from Pretty. We were saying there's no one there to respond, so Pretty has to teleport up to stop that play kicking off. Pretty happy with that from Devils 1 here. Crack open that mid lane nice and early, and as we talked about previously, if you can get that mid lane outer, it allows you to move into the enemy jungle. They immediately do so and try to put pressure on top side. They do put pressure on top side even and force out a TP so far. Want to see them start moving that vision line up now and maybe get more people down into this bot lane, start turning this one lane that they have been struggling in.
Yeah, Dragon has just spawned. It is an ocean. Bot lane put under pressure like you talked about.
Oh, good.
There's a lot of damage there onto Looker, and they're just hitting chip after chip after chip, but Devils 1 are available to this, and ooh, an interesting array of light coming out to the Spectator. That's a new bug.
Well, I mean, we're doing this from the UK, so I haven't seen sun in a long time. It is.
We're from Ireland. We
terrifying.
cannot talk. Like, we really can't.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen sun in even longer. I traveled from Ireland to the UK.
Absolutely correct. But like you said, bot lane was losing. So Devils 1. Mad Lions take advantage of that pressure. They take down the turret. That's going to be an Ocean Drake taken down for them. Mad Lions starting to come into this mid game. Not exactly the greatest Drake to be taken right now, but one is still more than none.
It's fine. It's a consolation prize. You still have this winning bot lane, though, as continuing their dominance, finally capitalizing on that to pick up the dragon. But as you said, losing the better dragon, I would say, of the two. That Mountain Drake going over to Devils 1, and now Aggressivo is going to be able to pick up this top tower finally. Will be much quicker to that Triforce spike as well than that Hecarim. One of the benefits of Devils 1 early pressure. And as I've said, I really want to see them try to transition this into more team-oriented plays so you can try deal with that Kai'Sa, who still is, while putting out decent damage, also very squishy. When you're dealing with, as you said, stat check.
Yep. Stat check, press R, and see what happens.
Yeah, I want to maybe petition that. I am enjoying that term. Just throw that out as the new name for Syndra's Ultimate.
I think that was Frosker who coined that one. From what I remember, that she was the one who always just goes stat check, and then there's like if you can survive it or not. You know, picking the Syndra into this lane, we talked about it a little bit, saying it's not a bad pickup, definitely something that needs to win the early game, and can be nullified by certain things like the Black Shield and the Chrono Shield.
I wouldn't say it needs to win the early game, but certainly has the ability to, would be the thing I'd note a lot more, and I had that early wave clear with just being able to toss down the orbs. Did do quite nicely. Syncroft's here for, can we dive? I guess I can pressure, but ends up being pressured themselves.
Yeah, nice buffer there on the Dark Binding. Does get the EQ combo out, the flag and drag to get a lot of damage to Yappa, but he has got that E to be able to soak that all
But look,
up.
they're losing the mid tower in the meantime here.
Mid tier 2. They did do trade it for top tier 1 and Aspire. But
Ooh, that 15 gold, baby.
it's shared across. It could be 30 if both of them are standing on it. But
I think it's 30 in general. I said 15 because they were sharing.
Because they were sharing, yes.
Yeah.
But Devils 1, they're not content with just taking that one tier 2. They're going to go for the bottom one as well, and they've got a lot of damage to be able to push on top of this. Have got the flag off to the side. It doesn't quite go down, but here potentially comes the engage. There is the Onslaught Shadows outside.
Vanguard's
the
Edge,
Cataclysm. Vanguard's Edge does hit on the 2. There is the Chrono Shift, and now Agresivo has to be forced to be exhausted. Single gets out with nothing. Falco goes down with no way of replying. Yappa also in no man's land. That's a 2 for nothing. Devils 1 coming out big in the bot lane.
And they're going to be able to keep pushing here. Pretty's going to be the one trying to stop them, but Agresivo's Aurelia is extremely strong. Had finished that Triforce, as I noted as well. That team at Triforce had great spike for them, and they managed to get a big team fight off. Devils 1 looking very much in control of this game. 6k in the lead.
6,000 gold coming up to the 18-minute mark. They don't even lose pressure in the mid side because the TP from Agresivo able to come in and cover that one no problem. He now has a QSS to make himself even more scary in these team fights, and this is where Mad Lions start to get the pressure. Now they need to be the ones looking for proactive plays because it could turn into a you don't do anything and you die a death of 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, but Agresivo having already gotten that QSS, and the fact that Devils 1 are the ones deciding a lot of these engages, gonna make it difficult for them to actually turn it around, because you saw that Impale came down, but the damage just wasn't there. They couldn't even kill Synchro. That's gotta be a concern for them.
Blue Razor on this 0-0-0 hasn't really had the impact that he had in game 1 with those Impales, and yes, it still forces the entire team of Devils 1 to build those QSSs. It still isn't exactly the best thing ever. Not, I don't actually see who gets that one. It is actually Skarner who picks that one up, smote it away.
You can see it's barely visible under Battlecast Alpha Skarner.
It really is, like, very difficult to see him there with the blue buff. But now the almost all...
There it is.
There it is. Thank you,
see, the big
observers.
thing is Battlecast Alpha Skarners. I don't like many of the Battlecast skins, but Battlecast Alpha Skarner I do like. The weird little, like, chainsaws for the arms, they're great. I think I have every Skarner skin except Sandscourge, actually.
I think it was my first skin I ever got because I got it randomly. I literally got it like as a gift from some random solo queue person. It was like back in like 20... I want to say 2011.
Well, you can't play, have a skin for your
yeah,
troubles.
Literally, it was like, you are so bad, here's a skin. But, but back to the game, we're looking at 20 minutes in this game. Devils 1 clearly comfortable right now. Much better look from them. Looking to push us to that game 3. Mad Lions, what do they need to do to come back into this? Because we've talked about how Devils 1 are just pushing forward, getting those advantages. Now what's Mad Lions' reply to that?
Gotta see these plays start to kick off. The Gwinsus is finished on the Kaisa, so you do have good damage onto that front line. You should be able to take them out in some of these longer engages. If that Impale comes down with Kaisa nearby, they should also be feeling that pressure. The issue is, Devils 1 are waiting for that and have that re-engage opportunity.
Triforce is just about to be completed by the Hecarim. He's just going to farm up this one last wave. Another Ocean Drake spawning in about 10 seconds. That's going to be pretty much easily picked up there by Devils 1. Mad Lions, no real reason to contest that one as they have one for themselves.
You got Devils 1 as well, getting themselves another QSS, this time onto the Cinder, and denying another potential engage option, because that's what I'm saying. That's the way for them to maybe find their way back into this game. Find that engage, but slowly being cut out of that opportunity.
Wild Dragon has been taken down
Oh,
there
look,
by Devils 1.
They may be trying to rush this
I
Baron.
was just about to say, no real vision on the Baron. They have got that trinket.
Have
So
seen
they're
it.
just going to, you know, create a dominant circle of vision, make sure that it costs Devils 1 time and resources to make sure they can securely take it, and gives more time to this Kaisa.
I much prefer this the way they're doing it. Agresivo is going to solo out that dragon, while the rest of Devils 1 hover in the mid lane.
Again, good buffer from Syncroft on that EQ combo. And talk about the buffer, it can pretty much nullify any CC as he still goes the distance, and that is very important for him to be able to
Harder with
do.
those stuns. It means the EQ is already set up. It's the snares that it's very easy. You just wait for that snare to hit you. You go for the EQ anyway. Beacon off Witch though. Gonna go for it.
There we go. Haven't got any way out of this one there. Double stun, triple stuns, shut down. And importantly, again, Kaisa picks that one up. That is the jungler for Devils 1 off the table.
And that's what I was saying. With the Winsu's finish, you have the ability to take out even frontline members on this Kaisa. Go for the flash impale. They managed to find Synchro.
Managed to find them. And now Mad Lions finding a pick means they're able to get control over this mid lane, get from priority, try and look potentially to open up that map. They've got the bot lane, they've got the top lane, it's that pesky mid lane turret that keeps them from really pushing forward. Here. There's the Dark Binding landing, it's going to be followed up by a double bomb. Yappa trying to just push in. Aggressivo's so big though, you have to respect this Aurelia.
Yeah, they do start just kind of backing off. The Aurelia jumps around a few times as they go, you know what, I do not want to deal with that. Let's hop on out of here.
Reset. Relook at the items. Triforce finally for Yappa's Hecarim actually at a point of power now. And nothing really on the board apart from that Baron, so wait until the next dragon spawns. I will be curious to see what one it is.
It's the Baron you do want to get control over, specifically for Devil's One as well, who had decent control over the map, but haven't really transitioned that into much Baron control. Maybe wary of the fact that that's one fight that they're not 100% sure they can win. If they get locked up in there by the likes of Morgana, and even you saw as Blurazor can just run in, impale someone, and they're now under a huge threat. See if that is deterring them from this Baron, because that is the way to really unlock this kind of game. You don't have the same amount of wave clears you had in the previous one. Now without the Sivir, that Baron is actually a lot more threatening against Mad Lions.
Devil's One, what is their next play? They're 7,000 gold ahead, they're feeling good, had a much better early game, got that early Mountain Drake as well as an Ocean, which will help them with the sustain. What is their next play? Where are they looking to exploit this Mad Lions?
So you're probably going to want picks onto Syncroft again, because now 4 QSSs have been built. Syncroft, though, I think again is just avoiding it, trying to go as tanky as possible and be like, look, I am the one impale target, please go for me, and allow my team to walk away.
I have health, I have resistances, I have enough to survive long enough that you waste everything on me.
But on the rest of the team, they want to try re-engage here, because that QSS tax has put them a little bit further behind in terms of their spikes, maybe feeling a little uncomfortable.
Yappa is still in this bot side. It's a 5v4 for the moment. Teleport is available. They're just trying to get priority so they can move in towards that Baron. The Scuttle has just despawned, so it'll be respawning on that top side. They're able to push these waves out pretty handily. Madislaw stealing away the blue from the side of Mad Lions. They're going to reset, get some wards back into it, and just kind of keep farming until someone else forces to.
Blurazor actually popped the Predator there looking for any potential picks, but decides, you know what? There are no potential picks. Out I go.
I'll say the Sidra is incredibly safe as well. Has the cleanse and the QSS. That is double ways of getting out of the CC. And that's just going to be a fight for vision. Pretty much 2 against throwing. They're going to go in, clear the vision that Devil's One have just put down. Then you would imagine that Devil's One will just go for that as well. But it looks like they're going for the inside track.
Yeah, they've got the inside track on this inhib, but they don't have a huge wave or any wave.
I was going to say, it's like they have nothing to really push this, but they have got a ward there, as you can see where Falco is, and that could be a potential Aggressivo flank.
Will take a while though. It looks like Aggressivo's just going to walk up instead of going for that big flank, and this is going to be Scuttle Crab, you did note, spawning over towards the top side, is now going over to Devil's One. Tentative gameplay. They don't have that Zac. They don't have that immediate, look, I'm just going to jump into the center of the team and drag someone back. And that's part of what made them so comfortable in previous iterations of their team comps. Gotten a better early game off this Jarvan, but now need to cement that by finding those engages.
This is where the nerves can start to set in. You're 0-1 down, you had a great early game, you fixed up, shored up all the issues you had fighting against this Mad Lions team, who have effectively gone with the ultimately the same comp, swapping the Kai'Sa for the Sivir. And it's, you know, it's stalling out. You're giving over time. Now that we were looking at just a Triforce Hecarim, now he's got himself a Glacial Shroud. He's a little bit tankier to deal with. We're looking at 3-item Kai'Sa, a 2-item Morgana. These are the little things that you need to be very, very careful when you're on the side of Devil's One. And they're going to be starting to feel that pressure. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds as well.
It's really the Kai'Sa you are worried about, and I guess then maybe Yappa as well, still having enough to jump in the center of the fight. But you want to deal with Samux as quick as possible, because otherwise you can absolutely shred through the team with those 3 items. Note now, though, that Aurelia is also pretty strong. Samux is going to be the focus, though. Syncroft looks to the engage, can't quite get in range.
Now has got the movement speed buff. Samux gets himself out of there, and like you said, just going to try and take him out as quick as possible, even try and burn as many ultimates as they can.
Aggressivo, though, souling up another dragon. This is an ocean dragon, so not hugely important, but is nice for them to be able to pick up here. Blurazor is actually just going to miss it.
Had to be careful because I didn't know exactly where the side of Devils One were. As Arcevo about 2/3 health, he's not really going to want to fight into 5
Double
people.
Ocean though just picked
Yeah.
up, so
A lot of
not
sustain, but Yappa realizes that potentially they could look for something now that Aggressivo is off to the side as he's regenerating. Now the fight comes in. Sinkoff jumps in on top of Falco with the Cataclysm. There's the Brom ultimate as well. Yappa has to use it on Sonic Shadows away. Good double bomb to disengage. Mad Lions get out with their lives, but do they lose pressure on this Baron?
They should do at least pressure, see if they actually lose much more, because I just saw Yop there. Okay.
Whoa! So much damage put down. Stamix needs to be so careful. He does get the Chrono Shift on top of him. There's a redemption as well, but a great flawless duet onto 3. But it's going to be Stamix picking up 1, and he's still so damn healthy. He gets 1. Another one goes over to the side of Mad Lions, and this fight has turned on its head. They need Looker, they need Erdona, but it's a double kill for the Kaiser. And now Yappa can go back into this Black Shield use. They get the flash, the QSS. Erdona will live. Stamix has to back away, but jumps straight back in. There's the flash, tries to get the root, does not quite get it. There's the Black Shield forcing the quick silver slash out there. Yappa though feels it. He knows he's got it. It's 4-4 none. Mad Lions are back in the game.
Aggressivo is about to respond though in 15 seconds. I'm not sure it's going to be quick enough. Looks like they're going to turn their eyes towards this Baron. And Mad Lions, as you said, are very much back in this game because they simply could not deal with Samox quick enough.
They are maybe going to try and contest this. I highly doubt it. They have got a couple of respawns now coming in. TP coming in off the backside. You can see it there. Looker still hovering around. They haven't got full vision of him and where he's at. Baron down to about 2,000 health. It goes over. Aggressivo just a little bit too slow on the trigger. And Mad Lions find themselves a Baron.
That lowers that gold lead now to 2.8k. Not enough for Devils 1. Certainly hasn't been enough for Devils 1 over the course of this game. They finally try to find an engage, but they force everything onto the Zillion. Don't even get out the ultimate, only get out the Zillion's flash. So they can get that ultimate onto Samox when everything's focused down. Samox actually stays alive for a while and then gets taken down, so he gets a huge amount of damage off beforehand. Then afterwards follows up with even more. Devils 1 just could not deal with him twice. Big issue for them here.
Like you said, it was the fact that they burned so much onto Falco to try and catch him out. They didn't get the Zillion ultimate, and then they follow up with Samox.
The thing is, they threw out the Syndra ultimate onto Samox, and I think that was fine. But now they're just getting okay. Yeah, they threw out the Syndra ult onto Samox. That was fine, but didn't even take him out originally. And it looked like they had the combo to win it once they actually hit Samox with the Scat of the Week, but they just simply didn't hit him quick enough. And they were able to just kind of follow through the rest of the fight. So, I want to see Devils 1 now. They're the ones actually under pressure here. Remember, Mad Lions win this. This is just the series over. This is Devils 1 also out of the European Masters.
Yeah, the Superliga showing up big against one of the scariest teams from one of the scariest regions of Poland, and it's just huge for them as a confidence booster. Everything about this is just saying everyone rated Devils 1 so damn highly, and now Mad Lions, who people weren't really looking at all, are coming back and potentially on the cusp of 2-0ing Devils 1.
Would like to clarify for Poland, we are not scared of you as a country, we just are scared of your teams. They are quite strong.
Specifically your League of Legends teams.
Yes.
Yes.
Just feel like it was coming across potentially negative. I just want to make sure we're just not... No, pretty strong teams, guys. Rogue Elite as well has been touted as pretty strong too.
To see now what Devils 1 can do against this 5-man Baron stack. Quite a lot actually, as they are clearing this wave quite well. There's a very short amount of siege coming in from the Mad Lions. Devils 1 just doing their best, but that cannon still lives, and that Cannon's just going to chip away, do as much damage as they possibly can. I feel like they just have to give this one up.
They lose 1. The siege may continue here from Mad Lions, who are just sustaining it up quite nicely. Any poke Devils 1 so far have thrown out.
And it is so tense for Devils 1. They'll be joining their Devil brethren in hell of getting knocked out of the play-ins. Diablos did fall earlier as well. Not been a good day so far for Devil themed teams.
Very loose definition of hell, I will say, but
yeah. You haven't seen my elo, friend. But good bit of poke damage coming down.
Yappa,
Redemption
though.
forced out. Erdota has to back away though and use the Unbreakable. They're on to this inhibitor turret. If this falls down, a huge amount of pressure opens up now for the side of Mad Lions. It is the one inhibitor which is furthest away from the Baron. but they can't take it just yet. They've got to respect the fact that they don't have priority in it.
Yappa actually did end up fighting Aggressivo in the mid lane. Aggressivo getting the better of that trade. Did manage to force him out, as we just saw at the very edge of our zoomed out camera. The observers just picked that up for us. Now Aggressivo managed to kind of ward off the rest of the fight there. Yappa not having the TP means they probably didn't want to commit to a siege that heavily.
Cloud Drake is going to go down in favor of Mad Lions. It's going to unlock the Elder Drake, and we are again coming to that really scary late game for both these sides. Both have the tools to win these, but right now, neither side really breaking that deadlock.
And you can see why Devils 1 were so reliant on the Zac. It just feels like they've no real idea of how to engage with the lead they had. They've since lost that lead because when they finally did so, they didn't get the engage they needed. Now they're left kind of questioning here. I think Falco as well had a pretty good game on this Zillion. By that I mean he's ulted people at the right time.
His timing has been impeccable. Can't deny that.
Is this a Zillion joke? Are you going for the clock joke?
Trying. I think trying being the important word.
That's so sad. I feel bad now.
I'm just happy that you picked up on it even barely. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Baron is still down for a little bit, so that's not going to be available for either side. Devils 1 pretty much looking to try and burst out Samix. Like you said, take him out of the picture super early, but he is sitting now onto 4 items. Also have a Vampiric Scepter, but a lot of pink ones. I like to see this. Sorry, control wards from the side of Mad Lions.
Lurzor, Samux.
They maybe go in for this. There's a double stun, but the stun lands there on top of Samux. He's forced to flash away. Black Shield is also down. But there's the Vanguard's edge, and they're forced to use the Dealing Ultimate so quickly. Lurzor is down immediately. Samux tries to do the Killer Instinct to get out. Yappa has joined the fight. Lunker just jumping in. They're trying to jump on both the 80 carries. It's a split fight. They just need to keep themselves alive. Devils 1 trying so damn hard. Devils 1 find the pick, and Devils 1 win the fight.
Aggressivo, I like that at the end. Flawless duet, get rid of Samus. I'm turning to Yappa. I'm helping my team and denying the Kaisa. They only get 2 picks there. There is no Baron up yet either. So while that fight looked amazing, it was amazing for Devils 1 while they've been struggling to engage. They actually can't follow up with any objectives.
The only big thing, as I say that, is actually going to be the QSSs that were still alive. They're no longer alive, as available, as they had to use them there just to get away from that Glacial Augment. But no flashes on any of the carries of Devils 1. No flashes on any of the carries of Mad Lions. And we can see the fight for vision, the fight for dominance. They still have a couple of seconds on Yappa. They're going for the Baron straight away.
They are going to be able to turn into adventure, but they're at least going to try. They still have people alive here, though. Mad Lions.
Lurzor is coming in. They're going to get the Baron down to about 4,000 health. They get it. It's not smited away, but Braum is first to fall. Now they're going to try and look for the next little bit of a fight. Lurzor flashes in. The QSS not going to be used at the right time. That's a double kill. That's 2 for Kaiser. 3 for Kaiser potentially coming in. There's the triple. There's 4 down now on the side of Devils 1. Mad Lions have found the fight, and it's going to go in. It's going to be potentially the Quadra coming in here for Samix, and that is a huge turnaround. They can end the game.
They have 30 seconds on Syncroft. They have 20 on Erdota, but that's not someone who can actually defend. Let's watch this from Devils 1. See if they catch this round. It's 5 members in the mid lane. Yes, there's no Baron, but they do not need it with this many members alive. Let's see what Mad Lions can do. Can they qualify for the group stage right here?
Mad Lions, underrated, underappreciated, 0-3 will take down Devils 1, the number 2 seed of the Ultraliga, 2-0, and go through to the main stage, group stage. What a way to turn your season in EU Masters around.